if you're the kind of contractor worried about your competitor, you're the worst competitor. The guy who's worried about his competitor it's a self-inflicted wound because he's spending time worrying about the competition when he should be spending time learning how to develop his company and his service.
You're listening to Toolbox of the Trades, brought to you by ServiceTitan, a podcast for top service professionals where we interview leaders for their best tips and tricks of the trades. Learn how industry trailblazers stay ahead of the competition and how you too can be at the forefront of an industry. Let's jump in.
Hello, contractors, and welcome to the Toolbox for the Trades. Today's guest is Joe Crisara, owner and business coach at Contractor Selling. Back when Joe ran his own business, he almost went bankrupt until a mentor gave him one piece of advice that would change his life forever. Give your customers options. Since then, Joe's dedicated his life to coaching contractors in every trade about how powerful presenting multiple options can be in propelling your business forward. Simple and to the point, Joe dropped some serious sales knowledge during our interview that I think you'll really benefit from. Enjoy! Joe Crisara, welcome to the Toolbox for the Trades podcast.
Well, thank you so much, Jackie. And let me just say what an honor and a pleasure it is to be here for the hardest working people in our universe, the blue-collar service professional who works in the underneath the subcurrent of our society to provide us comfort, water, electricity, home cleaning, and everything they do. I just want to say thank you for the service that you provide, especially during this difficult time that we're all going through. And again, I feel you are essential. So thank you for inviting me here, Jackie. I really appreciate that.
I really appreciate it too, Joe. And, I've heard about you quite a bit from a lot of the industry folks who work at ServiceTitan. You are a well-known sales expert. I've seen you dropping knowledge bombs on our Facebook groups. So I'm really excited for this opportunity to really quiz your knowledge. So just to kick us off, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Just a quick introduction about who you are and what you do.
Well, so I've been in the service business really my whole life, but since 1977. I started out as a air conditioning and heating and plumbing professional. I was a journeyman plumber, got an associate's degree in heating and air conditioning, and my dad was in the business, for way before that, so that's how I got into this, drawn into it through the family, right? And I can tell you this, is the first 10 years I was doing this, I did it completely wrong. Made every mistake you could make. So one of my superpowers is knowing how to do things wrong because I did it wrong for 10 years. And then the next 10 years I started to run a business. If I didn't know how to do the business when I was doing it wrong, I also did another 10 years with the business, running a business, doing that wrong too. So I know everything about how to do the job wrong from a technical standpoint and also from a business standpoint. And then I definitely, because of that desperation to get out of the way of doing it wrong and almost going bankrupt, I listened and my ears were now opened and I was able to accept information that I was blind to. I had blind spots. And the next 10 years, the next 15 years, I did things right. And, I had mentors like George Brazil, who showed me a vision about how to run a business. Maurice Mayo from Mayo Plumbing and Heating in San Diego, who was an entrepreneur who learned how to systemize plumbing and heating and air conditioning businesses, right? And even guys like, Frank Blau from Nexstar or, Contractors 2000, who held me accountable to charging the right price. And so these are different mentors I had who really steered me the right direction, right? And I've had a lot of, in the way I've done things, I say that the last 24 years I've been doing this, I've been helping to teach other people how to do only the things that are right. And I can always tell people there's two outcomes. The outcome that'll lead you to this direction and the outcome that'll lead you to the winning direction, right? And so I try not to tell people they're ever wrong. I just try to tell them that there's going to be two different results from doing things two different ways, right? And I always let people make that choice on their own, because once they're voluntarily committed to that choice, and this is, in a way, that let people sell themselves is really the essence of what I teach. If you want to know, I'm probably the most awful salesperson in the world. But what I'm good at is telling you, here's one way that's going to fail, and here's one way that's going to succeed. Which way would you? The famous words I live by are, "What should we do?" So here's the way that fails. Here's the way that succeeds. What should we do? And I don't make that choice for anybody. My clients, I teach my clients how to make that choice for their clients, and and that's what I do. And I really inspired by like ServiceTitan. I'm really proud and honored to be here because I feel like you guys and I are aligned at the hip. We're together in the same mission. You guys have digital assets that allow people to differentiate themselves and to profit greatly with your clients. Probably no better platform that exists than your platform at ServiceTitan. I feel like I fill in the other end of it, which is the communication platform that makes that digital platform come to life, and make more money. And so if anybody ever needs my help, I am here to help. Make sense?
100%. And I'll also let you guys know who are listening that Joe is a member of our Toolbox for the Trades Facebook group, and he's been super communicative the last couple of weeks. So if you have any questions, you can definitely find him there. But before we go selling your sales strategy after you admitted that you're a terrible salesman, why don't you tell me a little bit about, you said you did the technician route, you did the business owner route. How did you end up in this consulting space? What brought you here?
I'll just tell you the story. I had a client when I was desperate, and I went through, back in 1991, I went through a divorce, and I had, my business was failing. I was $250,000 in debt, and back then 250 in debt was like $1 million in debt today. So it's, scaling the kind of money it seemed it was insurmountable, really. Everybody told me to go bankrupt, but I had a client of mine his name was Dave Muller. He passed away in 2008, unfortunately, but he told me, he goes, Joe, I noticed something about the way you run a business. Can I tell you what it is? So what's that? He goes, you always think that people want to do the cheap thing, like you're trying to save people money on things. You always say, I said, Joe, people don't want to save money. They just want to get the best service. Why don't you ever try that? And I'm like, well, how do you do that, Dave? And he told me about the science of persuasion and the science. He opened the door that I didn't know exist. And he showed me, he goes, Joe, make a premium mid-range economy option. Let's try that. Well, the very first time I tried it, I sold the job. It would have been $120 for $1,250, literally 10 times more money. And I said, I'm going to try that again. And I kept trying it. And next thing you know, I'm like, holy cow. Then I start looking into this stuff. And I'm like, this is information that I didn't know about. I thought I was the smartest guy in the world until I didn't know anything, right? I find a lot of my clients like that too. They're very smart in their business, but they don't know about this door that's open, right? And so when I listened to it, remember, I was $250,000 in debt going into 1992. By December of 1994, I added 15 trucks to my company and rebuilt the company, and I was debt-free in 2 years, and also made a 20% net profit starting in that 1994. So the last 7 years of the business was extremely profitable. And what I did is I learned from a lot of different people, like Michael Gerber, who's very, he was relevant today even, right? Back then I wore out the Michael Gerber tapes, the E-Myth, and I just learned how to leverage things. Like if I gave somebody, I learned how to do the premium mid-range economy options. I learned how you have to personalize the premium one, and I learned that you got to bring it to a conclusion. Get a yes, a no, or another appointment. If I just do those three things, we're going to succeed. And that's as simple as this program is, right? So when I learned that, I paid off my debt, right, to my vendors and things like that. Well, my vendors are like, hey, how'd you get out of debt? Did somebody buy the company? I'm like, no, I just learned how to sell my services. And they said, well, how are you doing it? And I showed them how simple it was. They had all these sales classes. I'm like, I don't do that. I do this instead. I just do a premium. Every time I give a price, I give a premium mid-range economy price every time. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'll show you. Look, I just did it. And they're like, that's amazing. And so they gave me people to work with that were also in debt. My suppliers said, hey, would you work with these other three guys who are in debt? They're not in your competitive area. Would you work with them? I said, sure, I'll work with them. And so that's how my consulting career got started, because my suppliers hired me to get other people out of debt. And then I start realizing that that's my real superpower, is to the pain I went through when I was going through that divorce and that bankruptcy thing. I didn't even go bankrupt, but I should have. But that comeback is something that once you do that, Jackie, it becomes something that you want to do that over again. It's like the high you get from saying, I am now debt free. I experience that all the time. The reason I keep doing this is I keep experiencing that dopamine that I get for helping other people get out of debt. And it's like I live vicariously through my clients. And I can tell you one thing, there's never a client I ever took on who ever failed. As long as they took on the things there's no failure stories in my past. It's all success. Why? Because I know what I do works. It's like you guys, you know, you have a software. It's great to have a business that we know works every time, as long as we can get people to use it. That's the thing.
Yes.
Same with you, right? It's like ServiceTitan. It's the best software, but if you don't get people to use it, it sucks, and so that's the part of it. That's what I do. I try to help people learn how to use it so that you are excited about opening up that ServiceTitan format and using it to make a profit today and to make it. And here's the funny thing: once I learned how to do it the right way, everything was easy to do. Everything. My life became easier in every way. Communicating with customers, communicating with coworkers, communicating with my family. It all became easier because I didn't have the stress anymore. I was able to just be able to do things the right way. And there's some simple, super things you can do, and everybody can improve on that today, right? And I always say, if anybody, in my marketing is just to help people for free. Like when I go on Toolbox for the trades, I don't go on there thinking I got to make money on that. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to help people on that. And if they see value in that, then they can invest in me if they want to. That's how my marketing is. Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%. And I love that too. I mean, honestly, so I have a bit of a trade background in that my dad was a carpenter. He is a carpenter. He had a business in the 90s as well. So I'm familiar. I know I've worked with contractors. I grew up around contractors, but I didn't realize until I joined ServiceTitan how wonderful it is that contractors are willing to help one another, because it really is. It's just like this entire community of folks that just want to lift everyone up. And I find that so inspiring.
But, I believe in what's called an open hand philosophy. You open your hand and you scoop sand at the beach, and you have a big pile of sand in your hand, and you own that sand as long as your hand is open. But when you try to close that hand, then the sand falls. Open it back up, you only got about the size of a quarter of sand. So the more you try to own something, the less you become more desperate, and you wind up not owning anything. So I believe exactly what you're saying, that if there is no competition for contractors, and I don't feel there's any competition even for software companies. I feel like if we stay on the track, you run the race looking forward, not sideways at your competition. If you're the kind of contractor worried about your competitor, you're the worst competitor. The guy who's worried about his competitor it's a self-inflicted wound, because he's spending time worrying about the competition when he should be spending time learning how to develop his company and his service. And the competitor, they're not a factor. Because when you got an opportunity, it's your job to execute that opportunity. Don't blame your competitor if you lost the job. That's on you that you did that, right? That's what I take responsibility for the results you get, because the results don't lie, Jackie.
100%. Stay in your own lane, basically. That's the abbreviated version.
Focus, right? It's like, because there's so many things that are taking our focus away. Oh, the competitor's catching up. It's like, dude, I can't worry about that. I got to worry about running my lane. I got to run my race, right? If you hear professional athletes like that too, Jackie. Like, what do you think you're going to do against that defense, Tom Brady? He's like, you know what? I don't know about the defense, but I do know that what we're going to do, and we're going to run that ball, and we're going to throw that pass, and we're going to win the game. That's how we're going to. He's not worried about what's the competition going to do. He's like, if we do our job, I'm very confident that we're going to be successful. Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, these winning people, they just focus on what they can do, not what the competition or the other team's doing. Does that make sense?
100%. So you already kind of hinted at it with the premium, mid-range, and economy options, offering your customers options and empowering them with the choice to select the option that makes the most sense for them. As you coach more and more businesses who adopt this philosophy, or adopt this strategy, I should say, what are some of the common mistakes that you encounter as you're looking to turn around a business?
Well, there's a lot of mistakes with that. People think they give choices. So the number one mistake is to give choices verbally. For instance, on ServiceTitan, you can make multiple unique estimates for clients, which create these options. You can create estimate for the premium, an estimate for the premium mid-range, estimates for the economy option. You can create unique estimates like that, right? But when you create the estimates and you make those options and you save that template that you can do on ServiceTitan, then you created an asset for the whole team to utilize at that point. But if you just so you have all the information in front of you on your software, or even on if you write it on paper, even, right? If you make a paper file of all the option sheets in it. But what people do, the mistake they make, is they think that verbal pricing is as good as showing people in writing what it is. The effort that when the customer sees that there was effort, there's an they call the law of obligation. That when people see that you put an effort into writing all that stuff down, they don't realize you had a template. They realize, they're like, oh my God, Joe wrote all that stuff for me. And I tell you, number one, Jackie, I went ahead and worked up some options specifically for you. And the reason I did this was because when you told me about the stress you had with no air conditioning, or the plumbing is backing up, I just felt like I had to show you the most permanent option at the top. So I created some options, some premium, mid-range economy choices. Just do me a favor, Jackie, and pick the one that's right for you. I'm just going to be your concierge. You tell me which one you want to pick. Now, writing it down, though, if I start talking about the options, so lip service does not get it done. Real service, the first real service your customer realizes you've done is the tangible service, is that he wrote all this stuff down. So in a way, you created options, because world-class service, Jackie, means one thing, and you can measure any company by this, and even ServiceTitan. You can say, how are we doing in this area? Here's what world-class service means. It means, are we anticipating what people are going to need next, or are we waiting for people to ask us? So the failure is waiting for people to ask us to upgrade? No, we should be giving them an option for upgrading. You should think of it before they do. I mean, you do 400 to 600 calls a year. Shouldn't you know that the best way to to clean a sewer drain is to replace it with a new pipe? So you should be an option to say, let's replace the piping. That's the best way to clean it. Then we could just clean it with jetting, and then we could just do the bottom option where we just clean a pipe with a normal drain cleaner and do it that way. So, and it's like if you went for a tire, you ever have a tire go bad, Jackie, in your car?
Oh my gosh, I've actually been plagued by bad tires. Yeah, no, it's funny.
So when you go to a tire shop,
yes.
If a guy said, well, we got a premium tires which fix their own flat. We can also do oil change and a suspension. Then we could just do the premium tires. Then we have standard tires, and then we have a what do you call it, a retread, and then we just have patch the tire at the bottom. Here, Jackie, you take a look at all these. I'm going to put your car up on the rack, and you tell me what you want to do. Now, there's a time in your life, Jackie, when you're like, today is just a patch day because I don't got that much money, so let's do the $89 today, right? And then you're like, but I know I need tires. So then you come back in a month and say, let's go ahead and get the standard tires for $1,600 or whatever. I saved up the money for it. So you're going to need to know all those options. But here's the key. Jackie, would you get angry at somebody who created the options for you like that? Would you blame the tire guy for showing that he could do brakes and suspension and things like that?
No, not at all. In fact, I had one mechanic. I've done a lot of moving throughout LA in my time here. Mm-hmm. Mechanic at one of my older places in the Valley. He would literally take me under the hood and point things out to me, and I'm like, just take all my money, sir. Here, I trust you.
well, that should be an option. It should be one option. Take all your money and invest it in your transportation. This way we can avoid a flat replace all even though one's flat, you got one flat tire, the other three are still got 73,000 miles. Why don't we go ahead and replace those other three? So just like that, if you think about that, like what's the contractor's idea of a flat tire? Some guy calls you out there as a carpenter to say, yeah, I just want to fix the railing on the deck. Well, that's an option. We can do that. The second thing we do is just redo the whole railing. The third thing we could do is redo the whole deck. And then the next thing we do is just take it all apart and just put a whole new deck in and start from scratch again. That's the premium way. I give you 10 years if you do it that way on warranty and service. And the bottom option, if I just fix the railing, I can't put any warranty on it because I'm attaching it to the old wood. So anything that you do, you start to see where this mindset is like, yeah, anything could have an option like that. You got somebody says the air conditioning doesn't work. Well, the fan motor's bad. Well, we could do the fan motor at the bottom, then the motor and the blade with a 1-year service agreement, then the motor, blade, and control board or the hard start kit with a 2-year service agreement and warranty. You're bundling and packaging the service that you need, making it more heavy duty by augmenting it, then adding safety and health components, and then adding the service aspect and graduating all of them to the best at the top and down to the cheapest at the bottom. And what I call that whole concept is called pure motive service, meaning that the motive is not to sell you more stuff. The motive is to show you the whole marketplace that you could get. And I want to be a window that shows you opportunities to get this thing permanent or kind of semi-permanent or just temporary. It's your choice. And here's the thing, just like a car dealer in Las Vegas, you have to be just happy that people are playing the game with you. You can't be trying to win because everybody hates the car dealer who always wins. Right? So it's not like I'm trying to take your money. It's like, you know what? My job is to show you the options. Your job is to tell me if you want to give me your money. That's got to be voluntary. It can't be something that you force. So that's where I think I'm a little different than other salespeople, that I don't focus actually on sales. I focus on doing the undercurrent, the service the right way. When you do the service the right way and you put the effort into making the premium mid-range economy options, if I make an investment in you, Jackie, and learning about how you use your car or how you use your air conditioning, the people who live in your home, and I try to connect the dots between what I'm doing and what you're getting from me and how each person in your home, and even the people who visit your home, will benefit from this, and how you at your job, like I can make through an air conditioning contractor, how Jackie would do a better job at work if she focused on work as opposed to fixing air conditioning, right? So it's connecting the dots between what people do in their life that's important and what's not important, which is what the contractor supplies, like drains. We shouldn't be thinking about drains. We should be just fixing them so they're permanent. It's not normal to have a drain call in a house, right? So let's eliminate drain cleaning on the top option. And the bottom option, we're just going to fix it for today, but we'll have a problem tomorrow. It's up to you. The famous words I use, what should we do? You just use those. So here's the options. What should we do? And the client's like, I don't know, it's expensive. Which one? The premium one? All right, let's get rid of the premium one. Take a look at the other ones. What should we do? And that's really a sample of the whole program. It's just like, what should we do? You just it's like, yeah, I think that cheap one is not. I don't want a 30-day warranty. Oh, let's get rid of that one too. All right, so look at the middle ones then. What should we do? Yeah, can you email it to me? Well, I can do better than email. What can you do? Well, why don't we just admit that the top two are not good and the bottom one's not good, right? Yeah. So if you had to pick your favorite one, what would it be? Probably the third one. That's a good choice. What do you like about it? Well, I mean, it gives me the whole professional grade. That's true. So what should we do? Yeah, let's just do that one. So your job is to be a concierge to guide people through those options so that they're able to find the one that they like for their family, right? That's really the biggest thing. And that's really what I believe in, right? And that's why I'm so successful, because that's why it always works, right? Because the United States of America is built on freedom, and I believe in freedom of choice. That's really it. Makes sense? I'm American.
It makes sense. I'm American. Is that like a tech? Is that how you end all your sales trainings?
Here's how I do. Here's how I sell people. Like, are you a communist or are you? Because that's controversial, right? But I say, well, you could be either way. It doesn't make a difference. But do you believe in freedom? I do believe in freedom. So why don't you give people freedom to choose? Why are you standing in the way of that? Why don't you? So that's how I literally sell my service. I'm like, well, I don't know. Aren't your options confusing? I say, what's confusing? When you give somebody one option and they want something better and they don't know how to find it, then they got to go on the internet and shop for more people because you haven't provided those options. So here's what I say. If you're not providing options, then you're inspiring your clients to look at other people on the internet to look at your comp. So you're pushing people literally to look at your competitor because you failed to make those choices. Why do people need to call somebody else and get other prices? Because you haven't supplied all of them. If you did, we wouldn't need to keep looking. It's just like a Best Buy, Jackie. You ever get a TV or a flat screen at a Best Buy? You ever do that before?
I actually have not. I have purchased my TVs all through Amazon and from friend
Well, well,
recommendations.
even if you go to Amazon, right, you got here's the premium ones, and then they have some secondary ones. You can do a comparison of all the TVs, and somebody like you, you're probably like, let me see what's out there, and then you search, a flat screen. I want to get at least a 70-inch, right? So you get
Mhm.
that, and you're like, oh, here's what comes up. Oh, look at this one, 10,000. That's not for me. That's too good. How about the one for 7,000? Nah. There it is. 4200, the ultra smart LCD,
L L
by
L
LG, right? Oh my
LG.
God, that's exactly what I like. Oh, there's a cheaper one. Nah, I want the good one though. With the because one that's not as smart, you got to wire it yourself. The LG, and it's all wired already. It's like, I'll just do that one. And then see, that's the thing. You did the research it. You found the prices yourself, and you did it. In ServiceTitan, and really what I teach. That's why it goes together so well, because it elegantly creates those options for people. You just you have to know the science behind how to do it to make it work the great. That's why I don't think there's any better guest that you could have than me. I agree with your I agree with your associate up there in Fresno who said he should get Joe Crisara, because I think it is overdue. I think definitely I feel like I'm right at home here. Make sense?
Oh yeah, 100%. And you've just, I mean, you're dropping knowledge bombs just like you do on Facebook. And from what I heard here is, one rule of thumb for that contractor: do not make assumptions about your client. Two, focus on your client's convenience. Just like you said, they don't want to be thinking about their drains. They don't want to be thinking about their air conditioner. They have other things in their life that they worry about, and you need to give them the option that's going to make sure they don't think about that. Another thing you did very slyly, which I wrote down and underlined, is when the customer says to you, "Oh, well, will you email me the options?" And you just said, "I'll do you better." So can you talk to me a little bit about that, like that, where people are like not ready to sign and they're like, "Oh, well, can you email
Yeah.
it to me? Can you do this?" Like, how do you deal with deal with that?
Well, I happen to know, like, Vahi told me that his father used to be in the contracting. That both Ara and Vahi told me when I first met them, quite a few years ago. They told me their father was in the contracting. So my dad was too, and he told me this. He was dysfunctional in almost every way, like most of our parents are, right? But I'll start with that. He wasn't exactly, he had everything's nailed. But there's one thing he had nailed. He told me this one thing. He goes, when you get in the service business, Joey, and I was a young guy, and he goes, if you go to a house that has no hot water and you leave that house and you still have no hot water, he said, you're a crappy service guy. You're a crappy plumber, just so you know. So look in the mirror and ask yourself, did you provide good service? Because good service means getting it done. It doesn't mean being a human catalog, go on and give prices. He goes, learn how to get the. So he didn't know how to do what I at the time. He didn't teach me how to. He didn't know how to do it either, right? But he just told me. He goes, you got to don't quit. He goes, somebody gives you a pushback, tell him, listen, I'm just here to provide a service. So I want to get this done for you. So he had his own way, and he told me that, and that stuck with me. It kind of was in my core learning, like. That thing that locked into my brain that I just can't. I'm not a quitter. That's probably why I didn't quit when I was 250,000 in debt. Right? Everybody told me to quit. My accountant and my vendor said you should just go bankrupt. We could just write this off. And I'm like, no, I'm not a quitter. My dad said if you quit, he said there's no quitters in this house. He told me, So with that, think about that, guys. The first demonstration of the service is to make those options, right? Take the time to. It's going to take more time. Yes, it will take more time, but take that time. That time is an investment in your client, and there's going to be an obligation now that since you spent this time to be able to look at this more seriously because you took the time to write this up for me, right? The second thing that people see in your level of service is the second demonstration of your service. Does this person quit or does he believe in his prices, right? Because if you show people the prices and you guy says, oh my God, this is way too much money. I'm just going to use the other guy. I'm going to use my other plumber who's cheaper. And you quit at that moment, then you're telling the customer that he's right, that you agree with him. Like, yeah, here's my business card. Call me when you're ready. If you ever want me. No, I'm going to use the other guy. All right, I'll just do my dispatch fee. When you quit that easy, guess what the guy's thinking? He's thinking, man, it's a good thing I didn't buy from that guy. Even he didn't believe in the price. You see how
Yeah.
fast he left? Like I just told him I was going to possibly use another guy. You think he would have fought for him, stuck up for himself, and do so? The second service is to help people and assist people on bringing it to a conclusion. And here's what I would tell you. Here's a simple, super thing. whenever you're facing resistance from your clients, always think about, I need to give them two choices. The way that they're doing it, the way that they're talking about doing this, like he's saying, I'm going to go with the cheaper competitor. And then I would say, that's one choice, Joe. Or, Jackie, you could go with the cheaper competitor. I mean, they have cheaper insurance, cheaper workers, cheaper trucks, and cheaper materials and everything like that. You're right. You could do that. But if you invest the money in us, you're never going to have somebody more passionate to get that job done right. And it'll be a much more economical in the future, because you won't be returning and getting the job done over again. So you want to be cheaper in the front end or just more economical in the long run. What should we do? So it's always two choices. A choice between one way of doing it, which is what they want to do. Okay, go ahead and ask me, Jackie. Can you email an option sheet to me?
Can you email me an option sheet, please, Joe?
Sure, we could email it if you wanted to, but then my service would be over at this point, and I wouldn't be able to help you with it. Now, on the other hand, how about if we do this? Let's work on it together. Can we just both admit the top option was just too much money? Can we agree on that?
Yeah, sure.
That's gone. See, I'm helping you now. See, we eliminated some of the options. How about the second one? Is that still too much?
Yeah, it's a little too much, actually.
Yeah. So which is your favorite one?
It's the third one you showed me.
So what?
I don't know. I don't know where we're doing this.
That's okay, but this is what it sounds like, right? Which is basically not asking if people need help, because good service isn't asking people. Like ServiceTitan doesn't ask if they make a new feature, hey, we want everybody to vote on this new feature. It's like, no, we're making a feature that's going to have a benefit to you. Our job is to show you that feature, but also show you the benefit and how it's going to make you more successful using this feature. Apple doesn't ask if we should put two cameras on a phone. They don't ask if we should have a blurred background and a focused background. They just do it, and you're like, damn, I got to get a new iPhone now for $1,500 because my stupid phone doesn't even do that. So why do we upgrade over these things? Why do we do this? Well, because it's like, I don't have that. It's like the fear of loss, right? It's like everybody else is, I can't believe it. My receptionist has that and I don't have it. Damn, I got to get that, It's like what triggers us? That's what triggers us, is that part, So I would say hope that's a long answer to a short question. But the thing is that, if somebody gives you resistance on going forward, your second service is to show people you're not going to quit at that moment. You're going to try to help people find the right solution in your company, even if you haven't shown the right solution. It's possible that the options you have weren't correct for what they wanted. If they want something less, well, here's what we can do. Maybe we could just do the igniter. I didn't put that down even. So they might even correct you that you didn't put something down that you could have that would be cheaper, right? And I always say this, it's like your job is to help people find the right solution, even if it's not you, right? Even if it's not you. And I know, you at ServiceTitan believe in this, because there was a time when you're like, you know what? If you're not a certain kind of a contractor that has people who want to do world-class service inside the office, it wouldn't be a good idea for us to take you on. I know that was something that they did, and I think it was smart, because it's like, that I can only help the right person who's going to be using this software the right way. And I do the same thing with the plumbers and HVAC guys, electricians and carpet cleaners and everything, all the service businesses. I do the same thing. I just try to tell people, listen, here's the way we do things. If you want something less than we offer or something more than we offer, then I can help you find the other company that would do that. Like I'd take people on Craigslist if they want to find somebody cheaper, but just let you know that when you do that, you're going to find somebody who's not insured. They have a Cricket cell phone, and they're not going to show you the options. It's not going to be the premium kind of, does it by the book, right? But if you use us, it's going to be by the book. We're going to get the permits. We're going to get everything done the right way, and it's going to be done the right way. And that's all I can tell you about that. And if you believe in yourself like that, it's almost like I can tell you this, Jackie. I've given presentations of my services at Service MVP, and I give them probably 3 or 4 a week, right? And I never lose one. Why? Because I always tell people that before I even show you this, you got to be committed to doing the kind of training that I teach. I do orienting and onboarding of your employees. Every single person who works for you, I will orient and onboard them. So that means you got to be committed to that. If you're not, then you wouldn't be a good employee. It wouldn't even make sense to give you prices.
And let me pause there actually by Onboard and Orient. Are you even talking about, if you work with a contracting company, we're agreeing that moving forward, if you're going to implement my system correctly, I'm going to be training all of your new employees who come on.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to train all your current employees first. You have to commit to that. Are you committed to that? Yeah, I do that. And how about any new employee for the next year? We're going to train them too. Any office person, installer, we're going to be teaching them how to communicate at the level we communicate. Are you willing to do that? I'm in. And then your software, we're going to show you how to use your software so it's going to work. What do you use? Most likely to be ServiceTitan, because almost everybody uses it. It's like ServiceTitan. What do you use? Now I just say use ServiceTitan, right? Oh yeah, I do. So it's like, okay, well then I'll show you how to use that too the best. So you do that? That's a bonus. Yeah, they don't even pay me. You pay me and I'll do it for you. So the bottom line is that and I say you got to be dedicated to that. Are you? And they're like, yes, I am. Okay, let me show you the prices. If they're dedicated to that, then they're dedicated to what I do. And, if people aren't dedicated to the service you provide first, in a way, what I can tell you about when I present solutions, Jackie, the job is already sold when I show you the prices. It's not, I don't wait for the time. Like, I don't wonder if this person's going to buy something from me. I'm like, I know they're going to buy. They've already committed to the way I do things. So therefore, which option do you want? What should we do? It's not like, do you want to buy something? Yes or no? Because I'm doing that early in the call. I'm not doing it later in the call. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, I imagine that's a lot of you coming in as a technician, as a comfort advisor, whichever, and really evaluating the space in which they're in, identifying their problem and communicating with the client as you're doing that inspection and just getting them to buy in to your service, to who you are and what you're uniquely offering.
Well, exactly. It's an investment in the people. Here's two things I can tell you. One, a lot of technicians think they're only supposed to diagnose the technical part of the job. Like if you're a carpet cleaner, I got to see what this carpet's made out of and if I can remove those spots or whatever. If you're a painter, can this wall be hold paint? Can I paint? If you're a HVAC guy, you're worried about the water heater and the drains and all, and it's all technical, right? But when you lose sight of the people part of this, like who am I doing this for? How many people utilize this home or this plumbing or heating or how many people are going to be spending time in this home? Tell me about the people who are going to be in the home. So if I provide a paint job for you, I can paint it with the kind of paint that will work better for each room. So it's customized to you and your family, right? So if, for instance, a painter would be better to say, let me go ahead and go through each room and see how we want to do a design for each room and to make sure what's the color palette, so make sure it's common, to make sure each room it all kind of collaborates, even though they have different colors, they would match together, so it's perfect for your home. And I'll show you some things, and I'll go get the paint, I'll get all the materials, I'll tape it off, you just relax and do that. That's the premium option, right? The bottom option, go buy your own paint and you tape it off and I'll just paint. You pick your own paint. Pick your own paint. You start thinking about every service that there's out there. It's like, yeah, that's what we all should be doing, right? And I do this with my service when I sell coaching. The premium option, it includes like 2 visits to come to your place. The complete, I work with the management team, leadership team. I work with the office staff, the field staff, the salespeople, the installers. There's every single part of the company I touch because it's a communication system that I'm teaching, and everybody's got to be singing from the same hymnal when we do that, right? So the premium options, I do everything and even come out to your place. The bottom option is just e-learning on your own. Buy it and do it yourself. I won't be part of it, except for I'll be on a video,
Yeah.
Like that. So basically, I'm a product of the product. I feel my success is because I am smart enough to use my own program, the thing I teach, right? So
Totally. And yeah, I really want to commend you for just dropping knowledge again as we go in and as we talk about these different methods. And you've mentioned a couple times, like, the number of options, the number of estimates. There's a lot of folks out there who are of opinion on how many or options you should share a customer. So where do you land on that argument?
You might be the caller of the show here, Jackie, because that's a really good question. So
Thanks.
good job on that one. Here's what it is. For many years when I was dysfunctional in the service business, flat rate pricing was the number one, the biggest breakthrough. Like, oh my God, instead of doing a price, time, and material, we just get a price and say, here it is. There's a bundle, it includes everything. It includes travel time, get the job done, warranty. It's all with that one task, right? So you get a task and you get the one thing. And they thought that was the best way. The problem was it was limited because it only fixed one item. So now the guy had his discretion. You're going to have the technician choose something for the customer, right? What are they going to choose? Well, if it's somebody who's a little slimy, who wants to make a lot of money and doesn't want to, I'm just going to show. I'm only going to show them the best one, and then they say, yeah, it's $8,000 to fix this thing. Wow. And then there's other people who are, I say, have their mother in the truck and they're weak and they're like, I don't want to get people mad at me, so I'm just going to say it's $150 every time. I'm just going to go to the generic task number and do and do 150 every time. So think about this, how dysfunctional that is. To say, when people say you don't do this, let me tell you, you're doing it already because your customer's demanding it. So if you don't do the options, your customer's going to be like, that's nice. Now I got to go look on the internet for something else because you haven't provided it. So
Yes.
they're going to do what I'm talking about. Here's what I would tell you, Jackie. My system works every time, whether you use it or not. The only difference is that if you're not using it, the client's now forced to now take part and use my system, which is really a system that's been around since Socrates and Plato, which is giving people choices. It's always been there, right? Democracy is a form of what I teach, right? It's like I don't vote for you. You vote yourself. Here's all the different choices. That's why I said I think what I've been doing since been around for 2,300 years. It's not like something I invented, right? I didn't steal it from him, but it has a commonality to it.
I don't think he's going to sue you for copyright infringement.
Probably not, but it's like his representatives. No, I'm just teasing. but the thing is that you're going to get these choices done anyway. But here's the thing: so one choice isn't going to cut it. Now here's the thing. Now you say, well, what does work? People want to have a premium, mid-range economy choice. So if you before there was a thing in the advent of trying to get better, people did a thing called upselling, which is start with the cheapest one. Yeah, here's your cheap one, but if you want a better one, it would be this one here, and you want the best, good, better, and best. You might have heard about that, right?
Yes.
When you do that, 40% of the people go with the premium and the mid-range if you do that. So 60% stay with the cheap one if you show the cheap one first, and 40% go with the premium mid-range, right? Now, if you reverse the numbers and you say, instead of doing good, better, best, my program is not good, better, best. So get that through everybody's thick brain. Has nothing to do with that. My program is premium, mid-range, and economy. So if I show you the premium option first for $600, and then the mid-range for $400, and then the economy for $200, let's just say for 3 options, 80% of the people go with the premium and the mid-range, and only 20% go with the economy, right?
Yeah.
So it goes from being 60% economy to only 20% economy, and people upgrade on their own because they realize, in a way, why is that? Because if the service provider is saying, here's the best way to do it first, that's called the anchor.
Yeah.
You anchor it with that price. Yeah. So the best way to do your tires, Jackie, is $4,600. Brakes, suspension. I got Teflon tires that fix their own flat, and then you get oil changes for 5 years. That is the best. You get a 5-year warranty and a 75,000 mile warranty on those tires. Anything goes wrong with the brake, suspension, you're covered. That's going to be $4,682. Wow, that's so expensive. It is. Now take away the brakes and suspension, we're at $2,988. Okay, take away the premium tires, do standard tires, $1,695. Okay, we got just the standard tires, a little low grade standard tire for $1,200. Oh, I don't like that. And then you got the retread. I don't want that. All right, so what should we do? And it's like make the choice, and some have better services, some have less service, and that's it. So we do 3 options, good, better, best, 80% are going to do it. Now here's the other secret now. Here's the thing. The University of Notre Dame did a study in 1994 showing that if you did the premium mid-range economy, it would be good. But if you gave 2 choices at premium, 2 mid-range, and 2 economy. Now the question isn't, because Jackie, when it comes to tires, are you more of a premium, or how about if I said shoes? Are you more of a premium, mid-range, or economy person when it comes to shoes?
I hate shoes. This is a very funny story, not suitable for this podcast. But I would say if I really had to look at like products I'm very specific in. Geez, you know what? I would go with hair products, Joe. Let's go with hair products. Let's go
Let's
with
go
that.
hair products.
Let's go with that traditional
It's
female
okay.
product.
It's okay if you're economy. It's okay if you're economy on shoes. That's
Yeah.
okay. I don't mind. I don't mind if you're premium, mid, or economy. I wasn't looking for. I wasn't hunting for an answer, right?
Hmm.
So if you say I'm Joe, I'm just economy. I go to Payless or whatever kind of thing. I said okay. But if you go to Payless, they're going to have two different kinds of shoes at least. I got brown shoes. Yeah, we got light brown and dark brown. What should we do, right? So the question isn't, does Payless have enough shoes if you're economy? If you're a premium, let's go to Nordstrom's, right? Well, I'm looking for a dress shoe. Well, here's our 6 dress shoes. We've got this one here with an open toe. We got this with a closed toe. We got the dark. We have this, some additional rhinestones on this one. Take a look at these. Pick your favorite one. Yeah, I like the one with the rhinestones. All right, so what should we do? Yeah, that's the one I like. So basically, what they found is that 6 choices, 2 premium, 2 mid-range economy, because it takes 2.7 seconds to figure out how we normally do things.
Hmm.
Then the question is, which one do I want? But if you only offer one choice at that economic point, like let's say you're economy again. I say here's a one economy thing we have. Then you're like, oh, you only got one economy, so I got to go look for some other ones that are in the store in the mall because you only got one. But if you had 6 economy or 2 economies, they'd be like, okay, there's 2 economy ones. Oh, I see. Which one do you want, Jackie? See, that's the question. What should we do? There's 2 right there. So it's not like what should we do, yes or no. It's what should we do? Which one do you want? Does that make
Got
sense?
it.
So the perfect answer is in a perfect world, somebody would learn how to do 6 options. 2 premium, 2 mid-range, 2 economy. I've already ended the debate on that. People can say there's an opinion. This is a fact. I've got over 6,200 people that use our coaching that do this, and then those statistics we get are from them. It's not from some university. Now, if you did the 6 options, you'd have 15% going at the top 2, 74% in the middle, and 11% at the bottom. Now, here's a really interesting one. The very bottom option, the most cheapest one,
Hmm.
only 2% of the time do people go with the cheapest one. So 9% go with the economy plus, the better one, 74% in the middle, and 15% at the top. So 89% of the time, people upgrade if you take the little extra effort. And what that means is that if 89% of the people upgrade to premium or mid-range,
Hmm.
well, if you're selling furnaces or ACs or selling water heaters or water purification, water heaters and Wi-Fi connected shutoff valves with repiping, and you're selling that for 16,000 or whatever, and then the bottom option is just go buy your own water heater for 1,200 bucks and I'll put it in, right? And there's ones in the middle too, and people are like, wow. So either something like that inspires you, and now even better now, you know how ServiceTitan has the monthly payment feature?
Yes.
My advice would be to surrender to that monthly payment. Instead of saying it's 16,000, you, you would say it's $344 a month, Joe. What should we do? Right there. So it'd even be better because you're anticipating that people may not be, again, world-class service. Like why should you surrender to the monthly payment? Because world-class service means anticipating that what people are going to need. Well, can't we anticipate that if I show somebody $16,000 and during a pandemic that they're going to say I don't have the money, right?
Yes.
So why don't we say the monthly payment first, and then let them ask us if they want to pay for the other way of doing it full price. So everything I teach, Jackie, world-class service. And there's nothing I teach. That's why I think I'm the best. I don't feel I'm the best because it's me and my personality and my ego or my. You can tell I'm narcissistic in every way, right? But it's not. But it's not that. It's even though that does exist. I do have those traits. But I will tell you this: the reason it's the best because there's not one part of this program. Like I am flawed in many ways, and you can see
Hmm.
my history has a lot of flaws in it. But the system I teach is perfect. There's no holes in it. It's 100% perfect, and it works every time as long as you use it. Make sense?
Yeah, that 100% makes sense. And actually, you're having me like spinning in my head about what type of consumer I am and like where I am in premium products. And my mother would be proud. I think I'm very frugal. Um, and then also, one thing I wanted to talk about is like, okay, so you mentioned this several times. If you don't give them options, they're going to search for them themselves online in the age of the internet, especially. So you already said 6 options is the best. Is that also
Right.
because after we exceed 6, then we get into some choice anxiety space?
Well, because now you're moving outside that premium mid-range economy model, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what are we looking at now? I mean, there's only really three categories. You simplify it, it's premium, mid-range, economy. So do I want the premium? And if you say, now I'm going to offer you more choices on the premium, then it becomes a lot of extra. That could be confusing because, like, is there another category, a super premium, sub economy? You know, you could say it could be 8 or 9. You could continue on forever. I would say what it does, the reason why the premium mid-range economy works the best, because it creates a shortcut for us, so we don't have. Because here's one thing I can tell you, Jackie. You know, you don't have to go any further than if you had somebody, a partner or a spouse, who says every night to you, "What do you want to do for dinner?" And we've already worked all day. You know, you have your you've done work all day. You've done this you slaved over a hot podcast, right?
Oh
And,
yeah.
and then your significant other says, "So what do you want to do for dinner, Jackie?" And you're like, "Geez, can't you think of something?" Like, you know, and so we all don't want to think. We put 100% effort into our thinking at work, with our
Mm-hmm.
kids, with our job, with everything, right? That's why, you know, we don't. That's why TV is so popular. Netflix, it allows us to not think. Let the program do the thinking for us, right? And so we can only do so much effort on thinking. So in a way, by giving you the premium mid-range economy choice, we made it easy to think, and I said, well, here is the choices. Which way do you normally do this kind of stuff? When it comes to the health and safety of your family, or it comes to the quality and reliability of your plumbing system or HVAC system, do you normally go more premium, mid-range, or economy? And you could be like your mom and be frugal, like my mom was too. My parents were the most. Listen, I live in Los Angeles in a house in, you know, really one of the nicest areas in LA.
You do.
I don't. I'm not frugal anymore, but I used to be. When I was suffering, I was frugal because my parents were frugal. They didn't have the money, right? But I broke out of that and realized that you can never save your way to success. You have to be able to do more for that, right? And so if you give people if you do more than 6 choices, you're creating a little confusion because now
Sure.
we're moving outside those categories into a different thing. And now it's like the three categories we can understand. There's a power in the three, like premium, mid-range, economy. What should we do? Like, it's kind of like it has a certain rhythm to it as well, you know. So I would say that if you start going outside those categories, do too much. If you do 4 or 5 options, you'll still be successful, but now you're limiting something. What are you limiting? Well, if you got 5 options, let's say, you're going to do one category is going to have one option, the other 2 are going to have 2 options. So you're going to, or are you not clear as to what category it's in? So if you're not clear about the category that the option falls in, like, here's my economy and my economy plus, here's my pro and my pro plus, here's my signature series and my signature plus, right? If you're not clear on those categories, the title of each option is important, because if you're saying this fits into this bundle with the signature plus, the signature, the pro plus, the pro, the economy plus, the economy, you can see you got signature, pro, and economy. Here's the 3 choices, but there's 2 in each one. What's the plus? Well, it's got more warranty and service. So what should we do, right? And that's pretty much it.
You
Makes
know,
sense?
100% makes sense. I also, you said you're a bad sales guy, but you've been very intentional about using my first name in this podcast, which I appreciate. And you always say makes sense, which is one of my words, one of my phrases that I say all the time. All of this sales stuff, all the sales knowledge that I've been business knowledge, I should say, that I've been collecting from all of these fantastic contractors across the country, from coaches like yourself. All of this stuff sounds so common sense and easy to apply when you just talk like this. But I imagine it actually takes a lot of practice. So for a contractor who's listening to this right now, who's like, oh, I really want to explore doing this, whether or not they use your service or your consulting services, how do they ingrain this new methodology into their workforce?
Well, it is a cultural move for sure. It's not something that I wouldn't recommend doing this on a hit or miss basis. Like, yeah, we'll give one guy who can do the options and everybody else do what they want, right? I feel like for you to be successful, you have to have the leadership team has decided this is just like when they decided we're doing your software. They didn't say like, yeah, sometimes you could use ServiceTitan and the other time just use a paper invoice, right? What they say is like, okay, let's get the paper invoices. Let's bring them out to the bonfire. We're gonna have on Saturday. Everybody come on Saturday. We're gonna burn all the invoices because we're not using that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Or it's like
Yeah.
they made a decision that we're moving this direction. So leadership is important, that we're moving a certain direction, and this is the direction we're heading. You can say that it's going to take time to get everybody here, but we're going to make sure that we get everybody across the goal line on this, just like you did with your software, right? Same thing is true with my service. And so you start with a prototype group to say who's the passionate person to do this first. You get that started, and then you keep adding on until everybody's completely trained. Then the culture has now accepted it because it works better. The only reason that people would accept putting the investment into ServiceTitan, which is, let's face it, ServiceTitan is definitely, can't write a check. It definitely is not is a premium software, and it has a premium investment. The only reason it makes it worth it is because it helps you make more money. So at first it starts like, I can't believe I'm putting this much money into software. And then you're like, I can't believe that's actually so cheap. Actually, a year later, you're like, I can't believe how much more money I'm making with this software. So it's like, first it starts like, I can't believe I'm doing this. And then it comes out a year later, like, I can't believe how little it costs to get this done when they do all the stuff they do. Same with me too. It's like, I can't believe this Joe Crisara cost him much money. And then it's like, I can't believe he doesn't charge more, because it's like, I always say this, and I always say, there's never going to be a time when people feel like I owe them something as a consultant or teacher or trainer. It's always, even with this podcast, my hope is that people use it, try it, and be successful with it. It's like giving you solid information, a guideline to use it. My job, though, is to help teach it more completely, right? And then also how to adopt it into your culture, how to make sure that everything from the structure of the organization, the accountant and bookkeeper has to be able to deal with, because I sell multiple year service plans. The accountant has to know how to do that, right? If I'm telling you we're selling the signature package, the installers better know that this is a signature package. They got to be part of that too, right? So everybody's part of it, but it does start with the person who is selling it first. Then the rest of the culture, the way we answer everything from the way we answer the phones to the way we sell the jobs, to the way we do the jobs, the way we manage people, it's all connected together on this axis, right? And so it does start though just with a small, just like try it, and like I did the very first time. The guy Dave Muller told me, Joe, just do this. And I'm like, it's not going to work, Dave. I mean, the whole back when I did this, Jackie, the whole furnace cost $1,500. I was selling a furnace for, right? The top option was $1,797. He told me to do with rebuilding an ignition system with the 5-year warranty and service program. And I'm like, Jesus, Dave, nobody's going to do this. And he goes, well, we'll see. And I show it to the lady. Her name was Linda, and she's like, well, $1,700 is more than I paid for the whole furnace. I'm like, yeah. So what should we do? Well, what's that one for $1,249? I said, that's a good choice. What do you like about it? Well, I mean, it does the 3-year. That's good enough for me. Let's do that. And so she bought it for $1,200 when I would have charged like $75 or $120 or whatever at the bottom. And then that's my idea is that everybody, so one thing going into me doing business with me, people have already gotten value before I ask for it. And usually I don't even. This is a secret. Another thing is secret to me, super secret. This thing about me, I never ask anybody to invest in me. They always voluntarily ask me if they can. Does that make sense?
They always volunteer.
So it's like, how do I? And people do it with you guys too. It's like, how can I buy ServiceTitan? How can I? Like, they're already sold before they show up, right? And it's like, if you got to sell somebody on what you do at ServiceTitan, this is going to be a hard customer. Because if they're not sure about going on board, they're going to be not sure about dedicating themselves to getting on board and get this thing done. So you can see the people who have failed, you failed with, you haven't failed at all. They just failed to use it is all it was, right? And the same thing is true with me. I have no failures. Nobody ever says anything bad. They just realize that they weren't committed to it. Make sense?
Yeah, 100%. We've been talking for almost an hour now, and really, I appreciate it. I have some rapid fire questions. We actually didn't hit all the questions I sent you, but I have some rapid fire questions that I intentionally did not send you. So before we get to those, I would love for you to share, where folks can find you if they want to learn more about you, if they want to, ask some questions about your service. We already mentioned you're on the Toolbox group. So why don't you talk a little bit about, where they can find you?
Well, I could just tell you right now, it's super simple. I always give the first thing I do to everybody is say, hey, just call me or text me. So if you wanted to do that, you could just call me or text me. My cell phone number is 847-833-7912. and just text me that you saw me on the podcast, and I'll be happy to help you, and I'll give you some advice for free. I always say, hey, take it for a trial run first. Let's not just rush into this. Even when people want to, I just want to buy. I'm like, well, you sure? Because let's make sure we get it right, because I don't want to have any buyer's remorse. I always make sure people are solid. So always text me or call me if you want to directly, 847-833-7912. And if you want to go to servicemvp.com, you'll see that's where the e-learning is at, and that's really we're actually having a whole new platform in October, right around the first part of October. It's going to be our goal. Here's what our goal is. Our goal is to have a turnkey training, coaching, and accountability system for your company. So basically, every time somebody starts, day one, they would watch e-learning videos for 1 hour a week, 1 hour a day for 3 weeks straight, and they would now know what we're doing here with the pricing and how the stuff works, right? And then from there, we do coaching to keep people on track, and we help managers and owners create accountability systems, just like you guys have, where you have the thing where you can force people to fill out a form. We do that same thing. So that's why we work so well together, because you may have the way to force people to fill out a form. I have the way to communicate that so it looks beneficial to the employee. That's where I give the magic sauce, which is take what you have and let me show you how the employee is going to accept this. And that's what I do. So servicemvp.com. And I really think it's a perfect complement to the service that the world-class service that, Vahe, Ara, and all the hundreds of people over there. I can't even imagine what that payroll looks like for the.
We're over 1,000. We're over 1,000 now. I'm pretty sure. So
wow, it's like I can't imagine. It's like, well, I'm happy that they are comfortable with that, because man, over here I don't have that kind of I don't have that kind of a paycheck. But nonetheless, I definitely hope that that everybody considers the fact that we're one of the secret weapons that is not on the radar necessarily, but. And one of my things would be that I always felt that, that I always believed in what you guys do, and I think that I'd be somebody that would be good to help. Make sense?
Yep, 100%. Thanks, Joe. So are you ready for some rapid fire questions?
Oh, we're going overtime? Is it going to be
no.
Second podcast, or is this going to be second podcast?
It'll only take 5 minutes, so just answer
Let's do it.
first thing that comes to your mind. Ready?
Good.
How do you take your coffee?
When Starbucks was live, I had a latte with 4 shots in it with soy milk, and I use stevia. 3 drops of stevia I use, right? So that's interesting, huh? Stevia?
No, there you go.
Stevia. Liquid stevia by the brand Cal. It's the best stevia. It doesn't have bitter taste to it if you ever had stevia. So Kal. I shouldn't have told you, because everybody's going to buy it now.
Everyone's going to buy it now. Everyone's going to rush to Erewhon and get it.
That's it.
If you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh, my goodness. That is a good question. I don't know. That's a good question there. That was rapid fire there. Probably if I had one person I could say I would have dinner with, it probably would be, well, I'd probably get in trouble if I don't say my wife, right? Because really I put so much into my business that I really, really the best thing, I wish you had to go out to dinner. I wish I could. If I had my whole family, but my mom and dad passed away. My dad passed away this last February. My mom lived February before that. So if I could do something dead or alive, it'd be have my whole family together, to have my mom make a lasagna and I just got a chill on my spine just like saying this right now. I'm gonna start crying, right? I'm Italian, So if my mom was alive, my dad was alive, I would love to have just a family dinner with the whole family together, with my mom making her famous lasagna. That's what I would say.
I love that, and condolences too for your parents. That sucks, especially this year.
That's okay.
Blows.
That's you're seeing them inside of me right now. That's part of what it's part of what I've gotten from them, right? So
totally. What's the number one thing you're trying to learn more about right now?
Really what I'm trying to learn about is the digital marketing aspect of things. I think that's really something that is going to be our goal at our company here for the e-learning and with service businesses is to have 1 million users a month using our business. That's what I want to do. I believe this is $1 billion business that we have. I really do. I think that everybody would benefit. Every trade and vertical service business would benefit from this. So the thing I need to be able to do is communicate, to break out of the box that I'm in, to be able to let more people know about it. And by the way, all of you who are listening to the podcast, if you could help me out, hook a brother up and tell people about me, you never have somebody who would be more grateful, I can tell you that. But I think the digital aspect of it will allow me to get to the next level and hit that kind of a number, you know?
Nice. I know you already have a very nice house in LA, but if money weren't an object, so you had unlimited resources, what's the first thing you would do?
Unlimited resources? I think we would probably buy a villa in Italy. And we've been to Italy a couple times, and we enjoyed that. And so I may have myself a villa in Italy with near Cortona, which is in wine country in Italy, and probably do something like that if I had unlimited resources. You know.
Nice. What's the one thing every contractor should do to run a successful business?
Well, the one thing is the thing I think you got to get the organizational chart in the right structure. Here's the only one structure organized. People, I got to make an organizational chart. The problem is when people do an organizational chart, they have it wrong. It's almost wrong every time. It's not a parallel line like owner and then all the departments. It's marketing at the top. You have to know how to market your service to get people to call you to have an opportunity. Then sales is number two. So the sales manager should really be running the whole company. And then the operations people are number three, serving at the pleasure of the sales manager, because we are only doing the work that can be sold. So if we sell things, it's normal to have the salespeople put pressure on the organization to get better at installing in the workmanship we do based on what we're selling people, right? So marketing, sales, operation, and then the very bottom of the chart is finance. What's wrong is that people put the financial person at the top of that chart, then everything is blocked. Like, we can't do anything. It's not in our budget. See, that's the kiss of death for a contractor. So when you're saying, so here's, I guess, just an idea to sum it up. You can't save your way to prosperity. Stop trying to save money on things and try to learn how to make more with each opportunity, and then you would truly be successful. That's why I think there's nothing more important than what I teach, because I'm not trying to tell you how to save money. I'm trying to tell you how to make more money. So when you're running low on money to pay your payroll, the secret is not get rid of people, because that's just a temporary fix. The permanent fix is learn how to make more money to be able to pay those people. Make sense? Yeah. The problem in every company, from ServiceTitan to the smallest contractor, it comes down to when we can't pay our bills, we have to make more. That's just the secret. Saving your way into you're trying to save money, you wind up with a light bulb and some old used laptop. And nobody else in your company except for you is what you wind up with. How do I know? I've been there. So I've been there, done that. So I had myself, and I got down to I had 18 people, fired them all, and got down to one. And then my customer told me what to do, and I rebuilt it back up to 43 people eventually. And again, was very successful with how we sold it in 2001. Make sense?
Yep, 100%. Joe, thank you so much for being a guest on the Toolbox for the Trades.
Well, I hope you had a good time. But you know, if I was any happier, I'd be twins right now. Thank you so much, Jackie, and thanks so much for inviting me here. And I hope that everybody gets value from this, and that's really my greatest hope.
I'm sure they will. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
Ever wonder how much your business is worth? So many owners ask that question and have no idea where to turn for an answer. In just a few clicks, ServiceTitan's new Service Business Valuation Calculator can give you an easy and free estimate of the current value of your business. Whether you're thinking about selling your company or looking to track growth, check it out now. Visit ServiceTitan.com/value. Again, that's ServiceTitan.com/value. See how much your business is worth today. Want to network with fellow service entrepreneurs and former guests of this podcast? Join our private Facebook group, Toolbox for the Trades, to get immediate access to the best tips, tricks, and tactics from fellow service entrepreneurs. Visit Facebook.com/group/Toolbox for the Trades, or click the link in our show notes to join. See you online.